Beautiful. You guys look so pretty today, too. I miss all y'all's faces.
I miss you, too. We haven't seen each other in a long time.
3 whole days, yeah. Since Friday, since the last time we actually did this.
Wow.
It's only been 3 days.
Whoa.
Wow,
No.
that's crazy.
No way.
Yeah, we did it Friday.
It was more than
4 days. 4 days
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And time just flew by, dude.
What's happening right now? What's
It's May. I don't even know if you realize that it's May.
It's May.
It's fucking May.
I know it's May. I'm 32.
God, you're so fucking old.
You're next, Dustin.
I know. Thankfully, this year it's only a half a minute, and I don't have to do anything else.
God, dude. 32. I still feel young. I still feel young compared to you guys at 30. So I got a whole decade in front of me. You guys only have 2 years left or something.
I'm the only one without facial hair, so I'm the youngest. And I can't grow it either, so that's a bonus.
Hey, man, this is about the best I get, man.
Yeah, guys, this is called testosterone. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's on my chin.
I feel like you're the tough guy from the SpongeBob movie. Those aren't mustaches.
What was it? The how tough?
He has a podcast, so he's obviously Joe Rogan.
What was that? The how tough am I? I ate a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning. Yeah, so without any milk. Oh, get on it. Go right on. Now, Dustin, I thought it was really sweet what you said on Saturday when you were like, "My dudes, I know that wasn't our best performance, but after 2 years of not doing it, I really want to keep going with this. We need to do it again." Because I think we all had that same vibe because that shit was fucking fun.
It wasn't even it's not even that I thought it was bad. I thought it was rather good. I just said that I could definitely tell we were rusty. Other than that, everything just
easy, super easy.
Choice.
I rewatched probably about.
Should we find a radio station in Arlington? Maybe see if we can broadcast out of that place.
Oh yeah, no, there's this place. It's like $50 for 2 hours or something like that.
I bet, you know what? I'd be willing to pay them to let me broadcast.
Wow.
I hate the fact that there was 3 years of that. 3 years of doing that before we finally were like, well, we have all the equipment. We can just do it ourselves.
We got a lot of practice in. We got a lot of talking together, the three of us and other people. So
the vibe.
It's not wasted.
Oh, absolutely. No.
A lot of money gone, but it's not wasted.
Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, is episode number 101 of the Thx For Nothing podcast. We are now into a new century of Thx For Nothing, and I'm actually welcoming it with open arms because I think it's going to be 10 times better than the other 9,900 that we have already done. That being said, this is Mike. Join alongside me. We got Mason to the left of me, and below we got Dustin. We've all been doing this for quite some time right now, and I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And I know we only agreed on one thing that we were going to talk about today, and so I took a really big shit and I researched all of it just so that I wanted to make sure, that I wasn't missing anything. And, throughout all of this research, what?
There's nothing. You're not missing anything.
It's all nothing. But apparently Trump did a tweet storm on Mother's Day, over 120 something tweets. And he started, labeling it Obamagate. I mean, we're talking about Michael Flynn, how basically everything about the collusion with Russia was planted by Obama. And that's basically all it is. And then when Trump was asked by a couple female reporters to actually dive into it a little more, he only had really general things to say. It's sad. It's a shame. It's been going on for like a year. What's been going on for like a year? Just this sad stuff,
Massive crimes.
And so I tried. I looked up on Al Jazeera. I looked up on Politico, The Independent. And they were all pretty much saying the same thing on it. I didn't look at any conservative sides, but I wanted to go into this because I know how much of an Obama supporter that I am, and I didn't want to be biased on the matter. So I was like, okay, I'm going to view this objectively, and try to get as much information as possible. Well, during the big shit, I realized there is no information. It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, there's just a tweet that says, what, hashtag Obamagate?
Yeah, that's it.
What happened, maybe not exactly, but what happened around this time 4 years ago in 2016?
Was this during the butter emails?
Was that the pussy
Is this
grabber
butter
incident?
emails?
He's going to lock up Hillary.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's doing it again. It's like rallying his base, basically.
Exactly. And they're going to say, is Schrodinger a good example? Like, Hillary is so evil and powerful that she has to be locked up, but once he didn't lock her up, she is so incompetent and a nobody that she didn't need to be locked up.
Oh no, that's the age-old adage of for the fascism, that your enemy is simultaneously the most dangerous thing in the world and also the weakest thing you could ever imagine.
Well,
So,
apparently,
so why not go after Obama now that Biden's the presumptive nominee? It's just words, man. It's just words. Like, I'm gonna lock him up. How? Oh, I'm going to. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm so hard right now. I think he's gonna do it too. That's
no. More appropriately, it would be, we're gonna lock her up. Okay, over what charges? You do your research, man. Like, there's so many things out there. There's so many things that she's done. I mean, look at the people that she's killed, man. Like,
so there was I want to read this to you guys, actually. So this is from the Independent, and they were saying 3 things about, this far-fetched claim about Obamagate. But the second one was when he was asked by a Washington Post reporter on Monday to name and explain the crime Mr. Obama committed and say whether the Department of Justice should prosecute the former president, Mr. Trump deflected by saying, Obamagate, it's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected. It's a disgrace that it's happened.
Okay. So what is it?
That's
a disgrace that has happened.
I guess that's what happened. But what happened?
A disgrace.
A disgrace.
Disgrace. The biggest disgrace you've ever seen.
There is always, in with every presidential administration, there's always shady stuff that happens. I'm not stupid. I understand that it happens. It's happened since
Obama was not scandal free,
No, of course. He had drone strikes. He had what was the weapons program? What was the weapons program? Fast and Furious. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, shitty things.
Yeah, he did stuff I didn't like, but
no. What was his name? Ferguson. Was that Michael Brown?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a lot of people who are split on this one. How he came out, in support of the Brown family, but then it felt that a lot of people felt like that was more divisive of a statement than actually trying to unite. And I always compared it to Johnson whenever MLK got shot. Johnson had a beautiful speech about everybody coming together. He didn't point one way or the other, but he talked about, because the riots and the protests and everything that was going on across the country. But
then afterwards, he said the N-word a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different time. He was old. He was set in his ways. But no, I disagreed, because being the leader, the one thing is that yes, Obama is black. The problem that wait, what? The problem that I have with it is, he came out and and had a statement about police brutality, stuff like that, and I felt that put more cops in danger than not whenever the leader of the free nation actually says something like that. You've seen it with Trump how many times when he says something ridiculous and it rallies his base. And so there was a lot of people who were kind of divided on the statement that Obama made on that matter. And I was actually on the side of, I don't think you should really get involved with that. You could do your thoughts, you could do your prayers, but, and talk about peace and tranquility, whatever it is you want to, but you can't pick a side. If you pick a side as the leader over a big social issue like this one, you're gonna get into some trouble.
That's one of the reasons I appreciated Obama, and still do, as much as I do, because the grand chess master, man. I mean, he thinks 17,000 steps ahead, and you just sitting there wondering, why did you do that? And here we are years later, and oh my God, that actually made a lot of sense considering.
Well, considering this conspiracy has been out, on major right-wing networks and sites and stuff like that for over a year now. I did research into that, and apparently it was just never called Obamagate, but they felt like Obama planted it in order to help push Hillary Clinton to win the election. There's still no proof to that, but then I don't know if Trump is like an old man who kind of catches up, like he just found out what TikTok was yesterday. So he was like, oh, did you guys hear about what Obama did? It's all strategy. We are coming up into the election season, and
he knows what
I
his
agree
people
with
want to
that.
hear.
Do what?
He knows what his people want to hear. They want, all of us knew, anyone with a brain knew that Hillary Clinton's not going to jail for what, Benghazi. She got tried
11 hours of testimony from her alone.
Yeah, and a Republican-led so-called investigation. She's not going to jail, but they just want to hear that. Like, I'm gonna fight for you, and he doesn't do shit. And then I'm fighting for you. They're like, oh yeah, okay, that's fighting for me. Okay, they just want to be told what they want to hear. But what baffled me, and I'm not a lawyer, Mike. I didn't read it as well as you did. Like I kept up with Mueller's investigations, which led to what happened to Flynn. But
apparently they pardoned him, right? Even though William Barr, apparently, what?
I don't think they pardoned him yet. I think they dropped the charges.
They dropped the charges. Even though he pled guilty, they dropped the charges.
But what they've done with that, a few things. I think the most baffling thing that a lot of the conservatives are leaning on, and there's more to it. I'm stupefying everything for my own brain. I'm just making it as simple as can be. One, Obama knew about it. Holy fuck! The president of the United States knew about a fucking guy, a general that was an unregistered foreign fucking agent. Yeah, that's insane that a president would know that. I don't want my president knowing those things. Another thing, he pled guilty. Now they're playing that as he was protecting his son. He's pleading guilty because they swore they're gonna go after his son. Another thing, whenever what was the main thing? Like the Obama administration got approved to wiretap. Was it Trump Tower?
Yes.
And was it Carter Page or who was it that was
remember the name
wired?
What was the who did what?
Who was wired in the Trump campaign?
I don't remember.
But the thing is, my take on it, which again I'm simplifying it for my own sake. So if you think the nominee for president of the United States on the Republican Party is being helped by a foreign government, yeah, as president of the United States, you're gonna fucking investigate that, and you're not gonna say, "Hey, I'm investigating you for foreign influence."
Was it Papadopoulos?
Papadopoulos, yes.
It was Papadopoulos. Yeah, it was wearing the wire, or was
why would
to wear a wire?
If a hostile foreign nation is influencing an American election, the president has every responsibility and requirement to look into that. And that's what I saw it as. That's what I see Obamagate as. Maintaining that, no, he's not a perfect president. That's fine. And every president has corruptions. But it's like the whole reason he didn't go to the Senate or Congress with it is there's communication with Mitch McConnell. And Mitch McConnell flat out said, no matter what, we will not join you in condemning this. He flat out said, we will not help you in this investigation. Because guess what? Look at the money. There's your conspiracy. We were talking about conspiracy theories last time. There's a real one. There's a lot of Chinese and Russian money in the Republican Party. And if that gets led back to them, then you know what? Bad things happen, I guess. So they didn't want that, and they wanted to maintain power. So, Obamagate, maybe things could have been handled perfectly. Should Obama have gone forward with the information? In hindsight, yes. But when you have the Senate Majority Leader saying you're not getting any help from Congress and we're not joining you in saying that we have literal information that proves Russia is helping Donald Trump, what do you do? I mean, all that's
Exactly.
it just, I don't know.
So
I'm not
Trump's not going to find like a new method to campaign for the 2020 election. He's just going to use how he bolstered his 2016.
Yep.
And like you said before,
he doesn't have to do anything different.
And he'll win.
Well, he'll get his normal 30 to 35% of his base of the just always Trump, no matter what Trump people. And then he's still going to get a good number of people because they see that R right next to his name. I mean,
they vote party line, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So,
and we talked about this multiple times, Dustin.
Do what?
We talked about this multiple times. How great it would be if all this ended November, Trump's gone, and forgive me, he's the Guy Fieri of politics to me. I've been too harsh on him. Mitt Romney becomes the face of the Republican Party.
Oh yeah, dude. We both talked about this, Mike. You remember back, way on back, 8 years ago in 2012, whenever it was Romney and Obama running for office,
right?
And honestly, at the time, I remember thinking, no, it needs to be Obama. But if you go back and watch the actual debates, which Mason and I have both done because we're just stupid nerds, that's
what we do.
What are we going to do? If you go back and
watch some Romney videos.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, son. You actually go back and watch those debates. Like, they're not that different on candidacy. But I think that has more to say about the Republican Party specifically, because they're willing to let things slide as far as winning an election, and then whenever they get there, then, and that's not to say that the Democrats aren't like that, but not to that degree.
No, it's dirty both ways you look at it.
It's always dirty.
One is dirtier than the other.
We still have to be careful about that argument because one side has consistently played it dirtier here in the last 50 years, Mason, maybe longer.
I don't know, man. I mean, the DNC is just
they're shady as hell too. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sanctify them. I'm just saying that as far as a lot of the political goings on in this country, at least over the last 20 years, and probably even going back to Nixon, there's been a lot more nastiness and shadiness going down on the other side. I believe I read a stat that the last actual proven case of voter fraud in this country was done by Republicans.
You're not allowed to say that.
You know, going off of that, have you seen the stupid memes where, you know, if we can stand in line in Walmart and Home Depot, you can stand in line to vote voting. Do you know how many mail-in voting fraud, voter frauds have occurred since 2000? It's not zero. There is a number.
Oh no!
In the last 20 years, I think 461.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what was it? We went to that political rally. What was it? What was the name of that political rally you and I went to?
Free Pack.
The Free Pack.
Guys.
And what?
I'm sorry to interrupt everything, but I found an old digital camcorder that I bought a long time ago, and I pulled it out.
Dustin, you'll
never guess.
He was recording himself masturbating.
That video.
What?
YouTube masturbating at Free Pack. YouTube brought for whatever reason you borrowed my camera, my digital camera, like
no shit,
the camcorder, and there's like 6 different little videos, little snippets of you two just watching and recording the people that are on stage.
Man,
did our voices sound like this?
Kinda.
Were we very high pitched?
Kinda.
Did we get Ted Cruz speaking?
I think so.
That was before he was elected senator.
Yes.
I didn't know who he was, and I just saw a slimy used car salesman talking about freedom.
Yeah.
That was 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whenever we went and did that. I remember all they talked about was voter fraud.
Yeah.
Like there was a heavy portion, like 20 minutes.
They talked about they touched on it. Everyone, like one person came on and they talked about God, restoring our freedom, ending Obamacare, and liberty. The next person came on, they talked about liberty, God, destroying Obamacare and freedom. The next person came on, they talked about God, removing Obamacare, liberty, and what was the other one?
Freedom.
It interchanged them. It doesn't fucking matter.
Well, we're talking about how they're trying to tighten up, the edges on voter fraud, and how voter fraud has always helped the other party to win. Like it's this big old conspiracy, like dead people voting. They're saying that I remember you got pissed off, man, because you were like, they're acting like this is such a huge percentage of people. But you saw the supporters in the crowd that were like, yes, there's only one person they have to answer to, the Lord. And it's like, what?
Lord. But they're so like feverish in their passion. But when you take those instances, and it's easy to overblow it, because do dead people vote? Yeah. Guess what? It's in like small fucking county elections, which isn't an excuse. It's not a good thing that should happen. But in like these major elections, the instances of voter fraud are as consistent as lightning strikes, literal strikes of lightning on a human being.
Yep.
And mail-in voting, like it, I think, how many states do I know? Oregon does it.
I think California does it now. I think they're across the board.
Yeah, but in the past, there in 20 years, there's been maybe 400 and whatever cases of.
Yeah, you said like
voter fraud
or 427 or something like that.
But yeah, and that's, I don't even know if that's even proven fraud. It could just be a mistake. I don't know, but. The amount of they want to they're doing reverse chronologic on it. So if you take the coronavirus, and just because 10 people have it doesn't mean we should shut down the country, but then 10 counts out of how many people vote, 200, let's say 200 million, 10 cases, nope, absolutely not. We cannot fucking let this happen. We have got to lock down voting. We cannot allow this to happen.
I saw a really interesting. I'm sorry, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw a really interesting article. I wish I could remember who it was by, but they were talking. It was pretty left-leaning article. They didn't have much in the way of niceness to say about the current president and his job so far. Not that I fully blame them, but he was talking about how this administration was very, very concerned about shutting things down and getting things under control before we knew that it was disproportionately hitting Black and Latino people. And now that that's been the case, and now they want to restart everything because, it's not going to affect the Karens of the world. Who cares?
Is there a secondary virus named Stephen Miller directing policy?
I believe that is a parasite, not a virus.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So outside of the voter fraud, when it comes to like dead votes or whatever, or mail-in voter fraud, it blows my mind that gerrymandering is never brought up more than what it should be.
It's always brought up. There's just never anything done about it.
Yeah, because
I base it off the census every 10 years. So it's not like if you bring it up 5 years from now, we can do anything about it. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And so I know that there is a lot of debate about making gerrymandering, like banning it basically, which should be done, because all that voter fraud, what it does, and for people who don't really understand how gerrymandering works, they can divide up the districts, in accordance to race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, what have you, male, female, gender. It doesn't matter.
Their likelihood on how they vote.
Yeah, and so what it does is it's always benefited one side more than another, and that side being the Karens of the world. Because if they
not just that, it's it's been proven, shown. There are statistics and facts and studies that have been done that show that the fewer that people vote, the worse off everyone is. And not even just in a you can't vote kind of way. Partially that, because there's a lot of efforts to stop people from being able to vote that have been, judges have sided with a lot of prosecutors in that, or where they're disproportionately affecting, sorry for the term, but colored people from being able to vote. Just because, or through the voter ID laws and past poll taxes. I'm worried that poll taxes will still be a thing here coming up in the next handful of years, because why the hell not? They're throwing everything else at us. But it's been shown, it's been proven, and they've even said that the more people that vote, the less Republicans can win. If they allow people to vote, and the more people that can vote, Republicans don't stand a chance.
Look at the last presidential election.
Yeah. Look at 2000.
President Trump won by negative 3 million votes.
The problem with gerrymandering, though,
negative 3 million.
Wild.
The largest margin ever.
That's 1%, almost 1% of the population went the other way, and you still win the election. It's not the United States of California. Okay.
You're a sore loser.
Right.
You're a sore loser.
God, like it, and even with Bush. But I mean, I remember watching that documentary. It was very narrow. He still lost the popular vote, and I think that's happened. I think like 5-6 times in history.
I think 5 times in our country.
All Republicans.
All Republicans.
Not all Republicans.
Yeah.
But conservative, yes.
Yes, conservative.
No, I think all Republicans.
Well,
can't do that.
If it's going back into the 1800s, I mean, the Republican Party was actually the more progressive party.
Oh, I know that, but I think it literally is all Republicans.
Oh, is it? You're like every single one.
Sir, agree to disagree.
Oh, no,
you got me.
No, I remember watching that documentary on CNN about the 2000s, and the first thing they talk about was the Florida recount. You do know that officially it was within 400 votes.
Oh yeah. Why they didn't want it to be recounted, because they didn't want to have the off chance that they lost.
And I don't blame either candidate for demanding a recount or something like that. I mean, because if you're within 400 votes of the presidency, holy shit!
That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. And the fact that, because it was Bush ahead by 400, right? Yeah.
Initially, and then I think the next time they recounted, I believe Gore was ahead by just a little baby bit, and then they did another recount, would put Bush ahead, and then it went to the Supreme Court, where they just
Supreme Court shut it down.
They didn't even make like a real ruling. They said this ruling is only going to count in this specific instance. This is not set a precedent for anything in the future.
Which is fair.
That's lazy as hell. And you know who to thank for that? Scalia.
Yeah, but the thing, I think that's fair. Only now, mind you, it was a conservative judgment.
Set a precedent. Come on.
It was a very conservative judgment on it. I know, but that is something I don't think is going to happen again until it happens to Texas. I think Texas is going to get that fucking close within the next 2 or 3 elections. And you'll see something that gets within a couple thousand or something like that. And then it's like, oh shit, that's a purple state now. Dude, and we're not there yet.
Sooner than that, because too many people have been moving into the cities and the urban areas that are going to tip the balance as far as the rural voters that live out in the country. And it's going to happen sooner than the next 2 or 3 election cycles. It'll be sooner.
Absolutely.
Can I just say 2 quick things that really kind of irritate me? So about gerrymandering, the problem with that, who's going to stop it? Because if Democrats get in power,
they're going to do the same thing.
Well, who's going to be the one that they're going to agree to be like, nope, that works, because if the Democrats in power, it's going to lean Democrat, and Republicans aren't going to allow that. But if a Republican's in power, it's going to lean Republican. And then Democrats won't like that, because that's going to be all right, we're going to do it one more time, and then that's it. Mm-hmm. So it's almost not even
kick the can down the road.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But can we talk about the Supreme Court justices? Can we do away with the system as it is? Do we need them on there for life?
Not for life.
No.
I saw a model. I actually really like this idea. Each one of them serves at least one 8-year term.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an 8-year term, so that every president gets to select at least one president, or two Supreme Court justices. Yeah, you get to appoint at least 2 justices for your term, as president, and then if you're elected again, you can select 2 more. Like it's just a rotating.
Yeah.
Every 8 years, there's like two justices that are up for it. I like that idea because then you can actually you can assert yourself as a president into the judicial, and you can serve on the judicial with distinction, and that way, you have an end goal in sight. Like you're not just there for life.
I like that idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that is too much. Like you're, look at it from the end that we maybe don't support. Like imagine if Trump, I mean, he did do that for life, but imagine if a Trump gets elected and he's like, all right, I'm tipping the balance in my favor. I want a contested sort of Supreme Court of both conservative and liberals to hold whoever in check, because that is, Obama needed that at certain times too.
Yeah.
Being held in check. I saw, and I think it was Ted Cruz. I'm sorry for saying this. I agreed with it. I think he was like a staggered Supreme Court, to where it's like 20, they get like 20-year terms or something. And, it's a long term, because you need that sort of experience. You want that, and that ability to make your mark and to allow yourself to evolve if your mind's capable of that. Clarence Thomas. That way it is an impactful thing and something worth, people voting on, which I think people should vote for Joe Biden, not for Joe Biden, but for Merrick fucking Garland and honor him. But, you get that sort of, what do you call it? The legacy, I guess. And you get a good career out of, what could be a good justice, but they're going to be gone soon. And it's like, I think maybe every other president, I forget how exactly it was structured, but like it would probably work out. Every other president every other term rather is going to get an appointment of some sort, the way it would be staggered.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And it may not be 8 years specifically, but like, just like the Senate does, every 6 years, there's a third of them is up. So like every 8 or 10 years, there'd be 2 seats up or something like that. And then you can maybe reelect or reappoint them. I don't know, but that's not for me to decide. I'm not that high on the political spectrum here. They're not beating down my door asking for pointers.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. I got a dog in here and he's just distracted me walking around whining at the moment.
He's a hardcore Republican and he's not liking these ideas.
But let's go ahead. I want to shift it around now. We've all been in this pandemic for a while, and I think we've discussed enough politics for the evening. There's been a lot of really high-profile celebrity deaths that have happened. Jerry Stiller yesterday, actually, 92 years old.
Yeah, that one's still sticking with me.
Wow.
I think he had a stroke last year.
Did he really?
I think so. It wasn't. I saw it. It wasn't surprising, but I mean, it's still sad, obviously. But man, that fucking comedic genius,
dude, legendary, absolutely legendary. And when I saw that, I'm one Mason actually.
Serenity now.
I think if he had a stroke last year, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Serenity now. So I think once you turn 90 years old, I'm pretty sure you just have a stroke. I think that's just something that actually happens. You either die in your sleep, you have a stroke, something like your brain goes, dude, done.
I don't have the science to back that up, so.
But no, yeah, you had Jerry Stiller, Brian Dennehy. What was that, last month?
Yeah.
Of course, you had the huge one earlier this year with Kobe Bryant.
There was another huge one, like a huge one, Kobe level, just a few days ago too.
Who's that?
the tiniest of Richards.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The death of fucking rock and roll.
He was 86,
87.
Yeah.
87.
And
87
people,
years old.
I know, I get passionate about Little Richard, man. That
You
man.
did. I read that whole thing. I was like, Jesus, dude, calm down.
Dude, no. You don't have rock and roll. Like, fuck Chuck Berry, fuck Elvis Presley, mostly. Little Richard is rock and roll.
Well, I actually heard a story. My father told me a story about Little Richard, and he had done he did a concert that was segregated. One side of the auditorium was black, another side was white, and they were all seated, and there was nobody in the middle. And so he stopped the performance halfway through and said, if you want to dance, I want everybody on the floor dancing. So blacks were dancing with whites. There's a bunch of teenagers, young 20s, and they're all dancing in there. And they tried to arrest him for doing that. It was in Alabama, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he stopped the entire performance because everybody's kind of standing near their seats and they're just dancing along. And he's like, I want you guys down here. I want all of y'all down here. And they did. They went down, and it wasn't a riot. They were all just dancing. But like, the police immediately were trying to arrest Little Richard for that.
I think he was. There's no real way to say that was the first time that happened, but Little Richard got that going. Like, if you want desegregated concerts, Little Richard was the pioneer. He was, I think, the best way I saw it put. He was Prince before you were allowed to be Prince.
Yeah.
No, yeah, makes a lot of sense actually. I mean, what was this thing I was told that like apparently he couldn't perform in rock concerts for a good bit because he was black?
Do what?
He couldn't perform at certain rock venues because he was black?
Oh, probably. I mean, that happened quite a bit. Like even Chuck Berry, when he was just on the radio, he would go to perform at a venue like that he would be billed for, and they'd be like, "We don't allow blacks," and he's like, "I'm Chuck Berry," and they didn't know he wasn't white.
No, like, wait, what?
But I'm sure that, yeah, exactly.
Are you saying a black person knows how to make music? Yes.
Turned out we made all the music.
No, and a lot of people say that what is it? It was they were the birth of rock and roll.
They were, but like break down what like you can say like who is the most inspirational rock and roll, who inspired this, who inspired that. Little Richard has literally the greatest span of influence in, I would even argue, music history, like ever, because yeah, Paul McCartney doing his Scream got that from Little Richard. Jimi Hendrix when he was young, or touring with Little Richard, he started out. He got kicked off. He's so good. Of course, I was doing what he was. But no, he got kicked off because Little Richard was afraid he was overshadowing him. But Jimi Hendrix said, I want to do with my guitar, I want to make my guitar do what Little Richard does with his voice. Like just every Prince himself, who is probably the most top 10 influential, greatest musicians of all time, ever, in all of musical history.
Top 10 for sure in all of music.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe higher than that, but definitely top 10.
There's no Prince without Little Richard. There's no.
I know you're very envious of this story. I'll explain the story. Actually, when I was about 4 or 5 years old, Mason didn't like this story at all. But he actually came to Arlington, Texas, in a school.
Mason did?
No, Mason. Yeah. Mason. I
was so lost.
Little Richard. I was so mommy. What's this kid doing on this gym floor right now? No, Little Richard actually surprised everybody by showing up. They were doing a performance of Little Richard for my sister's 3rd grade little dancing, and Little Richard actually showed up and did the song with them. And it was just a quick song, and then he shook a lot of people's hands and he walked out. And I was about 4 years old. I met Little Richard. And when I told Mason that, I did not know how much of a boner he gets for Little Richard, but he was not happy. He was super jealous. And I was like, yeah, I was a little kid. I don't remember much, but I do remember, yeah, I met Little Richard. Because my mom was like pushing me up like, that's Little Richard, shake his hand. And I was like, oh,
right,
cool.
Fuck.
Right. But now, like looking back, I'm like, wow, that's actually Pretty cool fucking
Your
story,
mom-
actually. But yeah, Samantha did this little like third grade dance recital thing where they dance, and Little Richard played the fucking song. Just one song, and then he was done. He left.
Like, imagine the image of rock and roll being leather jackets, the guitars and cigarettes and being coked out of your mind and a needle hanging out of your arm.
Like
But
Bill
then-
Withers. Like Bill Withers, rest in peace.
Oh,
Coked out of his mind.
another one this year.
Another one, yeah.
But yeah, like that's her image of rock and roll. But then this extremely flamboyantly homosexual black man in purple clothes and high heels and a robe is probably more badass than you'll ever be.
Well,
And
that's the thing. Like,
can put on a better show than you could ever dream of.
does Prince actually have a lot of influence from Little Richard? Was that huge
Prince?
influence? Yeah, Prince.
Have you seen him at all? Have you watched a concert of this?
Rest in peace, Prince as well. But I mean, like when I watched that was always the person I thought of was Little Richard. It's almost like Lady Gaga with Madonna.
Yeah,
Madonna, you could just tell it's like her prime influence with everything that she's done.
There's no Little Richard. There's no Prince. There's no Jimi Hendrix. There's no Paul McCartney. There's no
performer.
Rolling Stones.
There's no Rolling Stones. There's no Madonna.
Who's a better performer, Prince or Little Richard?
Prince.
Yeah.
Little Richard created it. Prince perfected it.
Prince perfected it. That's
you have to understand this about Prince. Why I will consider Prince the greatest musician. Actually, I'm not saying this as a hyperbole. Prince is the greatest.
I very much agree with what you're saying.
That he's the greatest musician in all of history.
Yeah, and that includes Mozart. That includes
everyone.
Yeah, no, Prince could literally look at an instrument and just knew how to play it. I mean, it was
he's so cocky about it too.
Yes,
would you not be?
I would.
If you need a guitar, like separate Prince, like say Prince doesn't exist as he did, and a band needs a guitar player, and Prince auditions, you're gonna have one of the best guitar players.
Yeah, you're gonna have like a Jimmy Page style,
mm-hmm.
like just a badass session guitarist. He can play every single thing you need, and he can create new stuff too.
If you need a singer, you're gonna have the best singer around.
Yeah,
if you need a drummer, you're gonna have the best drummer around. If you need a bass player, you're gonna have the best player, bass player around. Just so happen to be one human being. If you just want to hire a songwriter, and Prince is only a songwriter, he would go down as one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Well, that he still has songs in his vault that have never seen the light of day. There's thousands of songs that he wrote that he didn't get around to performing, and they're just sitting in his vault in his Minnesota mansion or museum now, I guess. That they'll probably never see the light of day.
And if you release them tomorrow, it sounds like a song that should have come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whenever I listen to Prince's "Nothing Compares to You," that might be the greatest version I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest version.
Remember, he wrote "Manic Monday."
Wait, did Dustin just say he's never heard that song? Did Dustin just say he's never heard that song?
No, I've heard the song. I just don't know if I've heard his version of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Me and Mike are about to kill you.
Yeah, no. through. Yeah, are you serious? You've never heard that song?
I've heard a girl sing it. I've never heard Prince sing it that I'm aware of.
Girl, Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah. The girl that burned the Pope. Like, duh.
Mike.
I can't do it. Like the episode's almost over. I'll get over it really quick. Dustin, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar. And an asshole.
But Prince wrote Manic Monday.
I didn't know that either.
Wow.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that at all.
Listen to the verse. It's almost the same as 1999. Like, it's identical.
Oh, wow.
So I'm wondering, did he perform it?
No, he wrote it and
he just wrote it
to the Bengals.
Yeah. Impressive.
Wow. Yeah,
that's exactly the same. That's insane.
Yeah, but who else?
A lot of fucking songs for people that you probably I could look it up and probably be shocked of all the popular songs that Prince actually wrote.
So let me see. It was Prince. Of course, not Prince. I don't even know.
The
Why I
one,
just said
you know,
that.
the one that hit me kind of harder. Not as hard as Little Richard, but harder than any of the others. Because he was such a beautiful person, and he seemed like a really awesome dude. The Double Rainbow guy.
Yes, yesterday,
Oh
right?
Yeah. Well, so I haven't actually heard of him.
What?
The Double Rainbow guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Now
former.
it's my turn. Yeah, you're lying, Mason.
Mason, I agree with Dustin on this one. I think you're a fucking.
I saw Chase texted us, and I'm sorry.
You really don't know? Okay.
I really don't.
It was right about the time whenever like memes were really
I do it one time and I'm full.
No, it was right about the time when memes were starting to get really big. Like YouTube was really starting to take off, and it was it originally a Vine mic or was it on YouTube?
It was on YouTube.
It was on YouTube, so it was right before Vine really took off because everyone was
crying over a double rainbow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a dude that saw a double rainbow in the sky, and he just taking a picture of it, and he's so just in awe of it, and his devotion and just like, oh my God, everyone just loved it.
Yeah, he was. I actually read about him last night. Apparently, he was a former firefighter, and then just got like one with the earth, basically.
Yeah.
Like after he retired from firefighting, all he did was just travel, hiking, just became a real wilderness kind of dude. And the double rainbow thing. The song, I think I love the song more than the actual video itself, the remix of Double Rainbow. Yeah. It's fucking hilarious. But no, he's like almost in tears in such awe of a double rainbow.
Oh.
And it's like.
No, seriously. Do you remember
the bedroom? That's beautiful.
Do what?
Beautiful.
That's pure and that's beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's one of the most beautiful souls out there. But you remember the bedroom intruder guy, Antoine Dodson?
No.
Hide your wife, hide your kids.
Yeah, it came out. This came out right about the exact same time. Whenever it was popular to just remix everybody's stupid videos with auto tune.
They're raping everybody up in here.
Anyway, his was one of those. Like Michael Sanders.
How did he die?
Oh yeah, dude, it's a full-on double rainbow.
They thought he had coronavirus, and so he went and got tested. And then it was waiting for the test to come back. He couldn't breathe. And so he tweeted out saying, I feel like there's a time bomb in my chest. Well, it came back negative, but he died. It was some virus. It was something in his lungs.
What it sounded like from what I was reading was that he had some sort of an aneurysm
Jesus.
around his heart, because the doctors basically, like, he went and saw the doctors and they were like, we don't know exactly what's wrong with you, but there could be this, which is very bad.
Yeah.
Well, they could actually figure it out. It just.
And of course, with the time being what it is, immediately when he said he couldn't breathe, he was having struggle. Like, he was struggling breathing, he was coughing, whatever. They were like, oh shit, like you might actually have it. So of course they're waiting for that test to come back. But yeah, no, it was something like that. Like what Dustin said. Yeah, something with his heart.
He's a firefighter. Could his lungs be fucked up?
Could be.
But that was many years ago.
Yeah.
He's
a big. He turned into a big nature lover, and that was a very sad death. That's why I was like, oh no shit, like wow. But Bill Withers, dude, did you guys know that Bill Withers? I think it's an E4 note that he holds the record for the longest held note in Lovely Day.
I didn't know that, but I believe that.
16 seconds he held that note, and then just revamp the chorus again right after. Like, how much air do you have to have in your lungs, or how much coke do you have to do in order to get through that moment?
Yes.
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 How is he not up there with Otis Redding, Marvin Gaye?
I think he is.
I don't think that he had as much of a diversity in his song set.
Yeah.
I think that's the main problem with him. Not that he was bad. He's great. Wonderful singer.
His voice is amazing.
Yeah. But I think
romance, you want to feel good, you want to get over a broken heart, Bill Withers is your man.
Yep. But he didn't have, I don't think he had as many hits, as many singles, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. I mean, like, he did have like a set of hits.
For sure. Yeah. But I mean, it's compared to Marvin Gaye, or who was the other one you just said?
Like Otis Redding.
Yeah, Otis Redding. Yeah, no, well, and Otis Redding, he got killed. Well, he died when he was young, so it was kind of the mystique on that too.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this was fun.
I agree.
It was.
I think this is the most prepared we've ever been for a podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still so sad about Little Richard, man.
Are you gonna cry about it? I'm glad, bro. I'm so glad.
You see all the notes that I picked before.
I didn't even open my journal for this one. I was just, let's talk about Obamagate and just take it from there.
Can we talk about
what I figured we were going to do? I mean, I'm not upset by it. It's oh well.
What? What'd you say?
Talk about Mike Tyson for a second.
Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
I didn't watch the video yet. I actually never opened that video that you sent me the other day. I haven't seen
that video.
I will.
It's terrifying.
It's right after.
Terrifying. That man is 53 years old.
He'll still kick somebody's ass.
53 years old, and if he just, bloop, you would.
Well, it's almost like Herschel Walker. He went into UFC.
Yeah,
I thought the exact same thing because he's getting up into close to his 70s by now.
Now 60s.
He's in his mid 60s. That's what I'm saying. He's getting. Oh yeah, I guarantee it.
It doesn't matter.
60s.
It doesn't matter. Walk up to him and smack his wife's ass.
Be careful about the walker.
No, Herschel. He actually. He started undefeated. I think he won like the first 4 fights in UFC.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And it's like that guy's a machine. Like you just can't stop it. But then like he's also a really
vegetarian
dude
or vegan.
Yeah, he also does. I think 500 crunches a day. It's something retarded like that. It's like he's a man. We're not men. But no, Mike Tyson.
He could go bear hug a tree and make it fall over. Like he doesn't even need the chainsaw.
I was talking to Mary about this, Roy Jones Jr. And because you were the one, Mason, that actually was like, oh, you've never seen a Roy Jones highlight thing? Oh God, and you showed me, and I was like, God, that guy's a monster. Well, apparently he was still fighting up until last year, really? And he won his last 3 fights. No, I mean,
I don't think Mike Tyson. I think he's doing like charity fights. I don't think he can hold up.
In the heavyweight bout right now?
No.
I don't think so.
I very much doubt that.
Your body's not primed.
No. And it doesn't heal the way it used to. So even if he's working out and trying to train, he's still going to be sore as hell whenever he gets in the ring just because his body doesn't repair itself like it used to. And you're going to put him in the ring with some 20 to 30-something-year-old kid that's got full-on lungs like a monster. And he can go 5 rounds, 10 rounds, and he doesn't care because he's just going to be.
It doesn't bother him. Yeah.
Yeah, but the fucking speed, man.
Oh, I know.
That video was unreal. And Mike, I told you this, Dustin. It was like that scene in The Dark Knight Rises where like Bane and Batman are fighting, and Bane gets punched in the face, and this thing comes off, and he just starts like wailing, and then like punches a pillar, and like the concrete starts flying off. That's what it was.
That's what Mike Tyson's doing.
Yes. And Mike Tyson would have been like, "That's not bad." No.
There was a debate that John and I got into. Not necessarily debate, because at the end, I still agree with John. It was who would win, Ali or Mike Tyson? It's Tyson. It's Tyson.
Ali even admitted that.
What was it? He pointed a finger at Tyson. Like it's almost like I bow to you because you are the monster that we have all feared.
I mean, and we have to take into consideration the history of it. So let's say that Tyson was around when Ali was in his prime, or at least close to his prime. He still would have had the benefit of learning or watching Ali fight. So you got Mike Tyson, learned that, I'm a big dude, but I need speed too. And so he got fast, but he still maintained that
the connectivity,
devastating
accuracy.
Like, there's no way Ali would have been able to. He couldn't. There's no way.
But the thing is Foreman was as big as Mike Tyson was back in the 70s. And the thing is, that punishment to get his title back from Foreman, Ali took what, like 6 rounds of punishment, just trying to tire out Foreman, and eventually he did, and he suffered a cracked rib from it, just taking this kind of punishment. And so I wonder, could you do that with Mike Tyson?
Well, Foreman even said Ali said that was the closest. That's what he imagined death felt like.
Yeah, just pure punishment. Pure punishment. And so I'm like, do you think if Ali, a 26-year-old Ali, before he was banned from fighting for, what was it? Was it 5 years? I think it was 4 years, 5 years, something like that. And he missed so much of his prime. Muhammad Ali did, which sucks. But I mean, he's still one of the greatest fighters ever. If you take a 25-year-old Muhammad Ali and put him up against a 23-year-old Mike Tyson.
Tyson.
Because Tyson, if you put Tyson in a ring with George Foreman, Tyson.
I think Tyson was in the ring with George Foreman, and I think it was just Tyson. Now, George Foreman was 40 years old.
No, I'm talking about in their primes. Like you put, if it was Tyson and Foreman, still Tyson. Because like I said,
he's faster.
Tyson got the speed.
If you take Mike Tyson, take out the cocaine, and if he had a training regimen that was close to Ali, like if he was as dedicated as Ali was to training, Mike Tyson, there would be no human being on earth that would ever defeat Mike Tyson.
And the only reason why Holyfield holds glory is because he was fighting Mike Tyson post prime, basically.
Yeah, and again, Ali never did drugs. He's Muslim, so he never drank alcohol. Never, he religiously trained, and so Tyson was the exact opposite. Like doing coke until 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, then taking a nap before a fight.
I think that had a lot to do also with his youth. So I mean, like he won the title at 20, which is unheard of, to win the heavyweight championship belt at 20 years old.
Oh yeah.
And then take that. This kid is not. He's not even legally able to drink. He can't really do anything. And then suddenly you're on top of the world. And then the guy who was guiding you dies.
Yeah.
Your trainer, or your manager, basically. And he looked at him like a father figure. And now you've been unleashed on the world. So you beat a lot of women. You drink a lot. You do unnecessary amounts of drugs, burn all your cash because you're too immature. Dude, if you were like Mike Tyson at 20 years old and you knew nobody could touch you, nobody could beat you physically, you're just this cocky, arrogant 20-year-old asshole. Now, I'm pretty sure his and I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure his manager died. He was only like 23 years old, 22.
Super young.
And now you've just been unleashed on the world to do whatever. And that's sad. That's a shame.
All the money, all the glory you possibly want, you have. It does not matter what it costs. You can do it.
Yep. Unreal. Well, thanks for nothing, everybody.
Thanks for nothing.
This has been episode number 1.
For everything, Little Richard. Thanks for everything.
Oh.
Except Little Richard, except Bill Withers, except Brian Dennehy, except Jerry Stiller, except Kobe Bryant, except this has been a heavy year.
Jerry Stiller's still with me. Like, that one still hurts. That one's, I'm having trouble getting over that one.
Douglas.
The only reason to watch The King of Queens.
What about Kevin James? Paul Blart, bro.
You didn't say that, sir.
Coming from me, Mike, joined alongside me, Mason and Dustin. We will be back maybe this week, maybe next week, with another exciting episode of Thanks for Nothing, and maybe we'll write something.